You want to know what a reckoning looks like in America? It starts with a sound you almost mistake for thunder, a crack in the heavy Georgia air outside Bridgewood Public Library, followed by a scream that seems to freeze time itself. 1 minute Malik Thompson is sketching superheroes in his spiral notebook, walking home the long way because he likes the quiet, humming his favorite beat in his head. You know how teenagers are, and the next he's on the ground, blood blooming red against the concrete, fingers still clutching his book, the world shifting forever. Yeah, that happened, and nobody was ready. You could say this story is about a deaf black kid shot by cops, but really, it's about what happens after, because the moment Malik's cochlear implant hit the ground, buzzing faint, it wasn't just a boy who fell, it was every illusion Bridgewood had about who matters and who doesn't, what safety means, and who pays for it. The cop who fired Officer Kyle Rohr was still shaking when his partner yelled. He was signing, man, not reaching, but that didn't matter to anyone with a badge and a story to protect. Crowds formed, phones out, voices raised. Anisha Grant, the gas station clerk, shouting at the officers, "You shot a deaf kid. What the hell is wrong with you?" And Malik, even then, fighting for breath, not hearing sirens, only feeling their vibration as they came for him. But here's the twist, the one nobody saw coming 300 miles away. Danica Thompson, Malik's mother, was halfway through a CIA briefing when her secure tablet flashed red. Code Ivory. Malik Thompson. She didn't hesitate, didn't finish her sentence, just walked out. Let me back up a sec, because Danica wasn't just a mother. Not to the world, not to her colleagues, not even to her son, who only knew she worked for the government. What he never understood was that she had built her entire life in the shadows, ready for the day when the threat wasn't overseas, but right here, wearing blue, hiding behind procedure. And now, with her son bleeding out, she called in every favor, every silent asset, her team mobilizing like a ghost army, jet engines fired up before Bridgewood PD could even scrub their radio logs. By the time Danica landed in Georgia, the story was already spinning out of control, police reports mutating by the minute. Simone the barista's phone video of Malik signing, the cop yelling, the shot, the blood, viral before the local news could get their hands on it. He didn't hear them, Simone posted. They never checked. Inside the hospital, DR. Kareem Saunders recognized Malik, right away quiet kid, always drawing in the waiting room, now barely breathing, his life in the balance. The staff didn't need to call Danica. If she was who they thought she was, she already knew. Danica didn't walk into Bridgewood Regional as a grieving mother. She came in like a hurricane. Her team, Sawyer, the tech op with hands faster than the town's Wi-Fi, and Nina, a recon expert with a stare that could freeze a riot, already had digital eyes everywhere. Internal affairs files, traffic cams, the PD sealed disciplinary records. Within hours, Danica knew more about the cops who shot her son than their own chief did. And as Malik lay sedated, Danica was already setting the chessboard. Officers tracked, dispatch logs traced, the whole system about to be exposed for what it really was. And just when the police thought they could control the story, the first real leak hit: body cam footage, dispatch calls, digital records showing the anonymous tip about a black teen on Elm Street came from inside the station. You get what I'm saying? They called in their own target. Malik wasn't flagged for anything except being young, black, and deaf. His name on an algorithm's list, his sketchbook mistaken for a weapon. The first twist landed hard. It wasn't just a tragic mistake, it was a pattern, a system designed to spot threats that looked just like Malik. By the time Bridgewood woke up the next morning, protesters were everywhere: students, old-timers, teachers, all holding signs. "He couldn't hear you. Deaf, not deadly." Inside the hospital, Malik blinked awake to see his mom signing, "You're safe." He wasn't sure what that meant anymore. He asked, "Am I going to walk?" She nodded, and in that moment, you could see the fire light up in both of them. Meanwhile, Chief Winslow tried to play damage control, but everything he touched turned to gasoline. Calls to Fortis, the shadowy contractor supplying the PD with crowd control weapons. Internal memos exposed. Mayor Geneva Sharp trying to distance herself, while bank records trace city funds to secret shell companies. Every time the cops made a move, Danica was 3 steps ahead, her team intercepting burner calls, planting evidence drops, setting traps. And when Officer Hanley, Roar's partner, finally broke showing up to a secret meeting, shaking with guilt, saying, "I want to testify," Danica handed him a drive. "Put everything you have on this, and if you disappear, it goes everywhere. No threats, just a promise." But the most unexpected help came from within a detective named Alana Reeves. Tired and haunted, handed Danica proof the department had been using an AI system called Project Sentinel to flag kids like Malik. For walking alone, for signing, for being different. They labeled him a threat for not fitting their idea of normal, Reeves said. Danica nodded. This was bigger than Bridgewood. It was a blueprint for control, tested on kids, enforced by people who forgot who they were supposed to protect. Then, in a midnight meeting at the old gym, Tanisha Grant handed Danica the original, uncut rooftop video of the shooting. "You already are protecting us," she said, voice trembling, "because last night my own son asked me, 'Mom, what if they shoot me because I talk funny?'" Danica promised her, no more silent victims. And as the sun rose, that raw footage hit the world. No edits, no commentary, just the truth. Malik signing, a cop firing, a life nearly ended because of a lie. Bridgewood exploded. News vans, civil rights lawyers, vigils turning to rallies, protesters chanting Malik's name. His art turned into banners. Danica called a press conference, not as a politician, but as a mother and as a CIA analyst, holding up every piece of evidence. Body cams, bank records, memos, the whole rotten system. "No system is unbreakable," she said, "especially when it threatens my son." That was the moment you could feel the town change. Justice, once a whisper, now a roar. But the system fought back. Counter-narratives, smear campaigns, armed officers on edge, some trying to run, others preparing for war. The final twist came in the courtroom, with Malik and Danica sitting in the front row, watching as the officers who shot him faced trial not just for a bullet, but for everything that built up to it. The profiling, the cover-ups, the contracts, the quiet deals made in the dark. That night, Bridgewood held a vigil, not a protest, but a gathering of hope. Malik, scarred but standing, spoke to the crowd. "I thought I was going to die in that silence," he signed, "but I didn't. My silence isn't weakness. It's strength because I get to decide when to break it." The city finally listened. 3 days later, Danica launched a civil rights media platform. Her letter went viral. You don't need a badge or clearance to fight for justice. You need courage and the willingness to stay loud even when it's uncomfortable. If it happened to us, it's happening somewhere else right now. Malik's first graphic novel hit shelves 6 months later, dedicated to every kid told to stay silent. And still, people argue over what really happened in Bridgewood. Was it about race, policing, technology, or just one bad day? But the truth is, it was about what happens when enough people decide that silence isn't an option anymore. Now it's your turn. What would you have done? Where do you stand? And how much noise are you willing to make for what's right? Speak up. This story isn't over, not by a long shot.